Welcome to the Grow Your Business Cleveland video series. Co-producing and appearing in the series, the talented GYB CLE Interns. Supporting sponsors include NOAC, a regional partnership of Chambers of Commerce, New Image Media, Northeast Ohio's most recognized name in video for business. In this episode, Barbara Daniel, public speaker, publisher, and editor of the Cleveland Women's Journal, explains why in advertising it's all about the message. After the tip, we go backstage where Barbara reveals, when she was not well behaved, a sign that changes her career, why she talks about the ugly subjects, and more.
I'm Barbara Daniel. I'm the publisher and editor of the Cleveland Women's Journal magazine, and I'm going to tell you why in advertising it's all about the message. I have found through advertising experience that what our readers really want is content. Whether you're advertising in print, on TV, or on radio, it is about the message. First, identify your customer. And don't say it's everybody, because it isn't. You have a specific target market, identify it, and then know and understand the demographics of your best customer. And craft your message based on that demographic. Next, we use the 80-20 rule when we talk about content. We want 80% information, 20% about you. You want to turn the consumer into an educated customer. Customers do want to be educated before they make a purchase, and it's your information that can help them. And now you want to develop a headline that grabs their attention, such as "Eat your way to wellness," "Never diet again," or something eye-opening like "Success redefined." And now as part of your message, be clear and concise in order to create trust with the reader. Do not use industry jargon because they won't really understand what you're talking about. And use language that all of us can understand. You don't need to use big words to show how smart you are. You want to get the message that everyone can read and understand what you're saying. And finally, diversify your advertising. Try print, try television, try radio. By all means, use social media, Facebook, Twitter, write a blog. Find out what works best for your market. Explore them, and then keep track of the possibilities and what is working for you and your message. So whether you're advertising on television or radio or in print, for content, it's all about the message.
Up next, we get to know Barbara. When social injustice hit, Barbara and many other affected women set out to do right.
I believe the biggest turning point in my life was when I lived in Columbus. I was a young mom and wife, and I decided I wanted to be a Columbus police officer. I was very interested in forensics, and I thought this was a good way to do it. So my detective friends took me downtown to the federal building to take the civil service exam. And I was not allowed to take the civil service exam because I was a woman. And the clerk explained very nicely to me that it was given to women every 2 years. Fill out this postcard and we'll be happy to notify you. And I asked, well, how often is it given to men? And she said, every month. Well, every month for men and every 2 years for women just didn't sit right. But she didn't blink. She didn't think there was anything wrong with that. So I left and I told my detective friends and they said, well, this is not right. So they introduced me to a reporter for the Columbus Dispatch. And the rest, as they say, is history. Because there were other women who also were not allowed to take the civil service exam. I wasn't the only one. And attorneys contacted us after we were on the front page of the Columbus Dispatch about our story. Clearly sexual discrimination. So we hired these attorneys to represent us, and all kinds of women came out to join in the class action lawsuit. And they made us do everything: 2 written exams, polygraph exams, background checks, everything. And once we qualified and we won our lawsuit, we each received a whopping $9,500, which was the starting salary of a Columbus police officer in 1974. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the discrimination because we weren't allowed to take the test. So one of my favorite quotes is, well-behaved women rarely make history. And we were not well-behaved women that day.
After witnessing the accounts of women, Barbara shares with us the impact of her voice through writing.
Well, you know in your life when it's time to change careers. If you're bored with what you're doing or you feel a restlessness, you get a sign that it's time to make a career change. I'd been in the financial services industry for 26 years with life insurance and disability, long-term care securities, and I loved my job for a long time. But this opportunity was an accident. I met the woman who brought this Cleveland Women's Journal magazine to Cleveland, started the magazine, met her, fell in love with the magazine, and then she decided to sell her share of it. Well, I thought it fit my personal mission, which is to help other women. And I couldn't think of a better way to do it than a magazine. So I was on board immediately. I didn't care about my last career. That was my last career, and this was my new career. And we're 12 years later, and I'm still excited about the career change that I made. And I love what I do every day.
With stories from real women, Barbara shares with us how important it is to be fearless.
I like to talk about the controversial issues in my magazine. So many of the print publications do not want to talk about domestic violence, rape, or sex trafficking. And they're real in our community. They happen every day. So we want to make women aware of what their resources are. If they're a victim, if they know somebody's a victim, they can help them with the information and the resources that we provide in our magazine. Sure, it's a serious subject. It's an ugly subject. And most people do not want to talk about it. But I do, because I want to avoid any woman being a victim. I've always been involved with these unsavory topics, but it was when I interviewed a woman, a victim of domestic violence who was still in hiding, that really enforced my feelings about helping these women. 10 years after she was beaten, her house set on fire, and almost murdered by her ex-husband, who still tracked her down, it was very difficult for her to tell her story. And I'm glad it was on the telephone. I'm not sure I could have faced her and heard the pain of her story. So even 10 years later, these victims are still suffering. So we need to help them. And one of the things that I can do through my magazine is to be sure that they have access to information and know there are other women who can help them because they also are victims. So it was very touching. I cried when I got off the phone with her.
So how did Barbara score as a Grow Your Business Cleveland expert? We gave a thumbs up for tips on advertising, being an entrepreneur with passion, inspiring GYB CLE women, and being fearless when it counts. Special thanks goes to our Grow Your Business Cleveland contributing experts for supporting our mission of growing business and kickstarting careers in Northeast Ohio. So don't miss a video or an opportunity to be part of the show. Subscribe at GYBCLE.com and follow us on our social media channels. And remember, if you like it, share it.